Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name's Beth and today is the night before Christmas and I have one more little project I want to make before Christmas is actually here, and I think these little carolers would be cute all year long on a piano. But I have a pattern here I got online about 10 years ago. I have made them before, I've given them away, and I'm going to make some more for myself today. I have some woven fabric, some felt for the little caroler's hair, some muslin for her face, and I happen to have this music fabric, and I'll just use a teeny tiny bit of that music fabric for her to hold. So this is my second caroler and my goal is 3, but here with this video today I'll show you how I'm going to make this green caroler. The pattern says to cut 3 of these shapes out of your woven fabric, and the pattern will be down in the description box. It's available online. Now my first caroler, the black one that you'll be seeing throughout the video here, was made from a wool skirt that I had thrifted. This little piece of green fabric is in my wool or my upholstery type fabric. You could use many different kinds of fabric, and these are just 2 that I'm using today. I had all of my pieces cut out. I'm now going to work on the face and the hair. So I did a little strip of this felt, and to do the hair you just kind of do a little curved cut like this and tuck it in there, and you now have her beautiful gray hair. And my pieces are bigger than I need, and that's okay, I'll be trimming them away. My machine, this Juki machine, does not have zigzag. That might be preferred, but I'm in a hurry. Like I said, it's the night before Christmas and I need to get this done. So I'm going to sew around the edge a couple of times so it's secure. There will be some raw edge there because I'm not using a zigzag machine, but that's okay with me. And I'm using a thread that matches this green fabric. Was okay with some white thread, but when I made the black one I needed to use black thread. So I'm going to sew around the edge a couple times and then we'll start putting this little caroler together. I began at the top of the caroler's hat, and I'm going to leave about 1/4 inch and try to get my seams to meet together up there, and I'm going to leave an opening. I should have left the opening on the back, but with this green caroler, I left it sort of in the front. It worked out okay, but I think that it would be preferable to put your opening in that back seam. I'm beginning at the top of my little caroler with some of this stuffing right here, polyfill, and then after I do the top part of her body, I'm going to do some repurposing of some of my leftover batting strips and put them sort of in the center of her body, and I'll just use sort of a mix of the two, and then when I am done with those two items, I'm going to add a little bit of those crushed walnut shells into the bottom to give her a little stability, to put a little weight in the bottom of this caroler. After doing the details of her face with some embroidery floss, I am going to add some arms and some sheet music with that music fabric. And my arms are just made out of some heavyweight fabric. I ran out of that green, the body fabric, and I had this little bit of upholstery fabric that's quite heavy. So I wasn't able to tuck in the raw edges. I just didn't, I thought it would be too bulky. So I just folded it in half and I sewed along the raw edge. So this lady has quite a few raw edges, but I won't be washing her and she won't get a lot of use, so that's okay. And yes, I could have tucked these arms into that seam, but I was afraid that I would misjudge the placement. So I am just hand sewing them right here, putting the raw edge sort of on the inside, and then when her arm is folded in, I hope it kind of covers up that raw edge. But you know, these are just for decoration, so I'm not too worried about that. I know some people would really prefer having those raw edges inside, and you could definitely tuck those arms in as you're sewing those seams in. After I get the arms on, I'll add the music and we're almost done. Music, I have 2 pieces of fabric, about 1.5 inches by 3 inches or so, and I'm going to sew right along the binding so that it stays sort of looking like a book, and I will attach the music to her arms. I will just do a little basting stitches to hold that music in her hands. I added some buttons to her dress like the pattern recommends, and now I'm going to make a little pom-pom for the top of her little outfit here, and I'm using this cardboard. It's 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to wrap this around about 20 times and hand make a little pom-pom for her hat. After attaching her little pom-pom with a yarn needle, I trimmed it because it was just a little bit too long. It's kind of hard to gauge how big to make these things when you're making for little dolls. And for my caroler in black, I used some red yarn and I crocheted a long chain, and then I just did some double crochets with a small crochet hook. And I'm showing you here this sort of mustard colored yarn and how I started with a chain, but midway I decided, you know what, I think it'd be easier just to get some flannel out of my stash and cut a little scarf out of flannel. So after I did some stitches to kind of show you how I made that red scarf, I put this aside and I made a mustard scarf with some flannel. Aren't these carolers so sweet? I might make one more to make a set of 3. But thanks for joining me today as I put this one together. The pattern, again, is down below in the description box. It's not my pattern, but I think it's just a really sweet pattern. Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you for sewing along with me, and I'll see you next time.